Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Anna Deavere Smith has brought her new show, Notes from the Field, to second stage, which has original music composed and performed by Marcus Shelby and direction by Leonard Foglia. And we dropped by second stage to catch up with all of them. So how did you work on the music for this? Did you read it first? Did you start to do scenes with you or characters? How did you create it?
That's a good question. So early on, she brought me in on the process. A lot of times, a composer comes in at the end and, maybe it's a film or maybe it's a theater piece and you just see the final product and you're asked to put music where the director or the writer wants it. In this case, she brought me in on the very beginning and started talking about the characters. And more so than about how the music will work in the play, but really how our foundation connects, which is really the Black church, and how music kind of moves in that sort of blues sensibilities of call and response, and how we can find those moods in the various characters that she interviewed, which are judges and teachers and parents, kids caught in the pipeline. And so for me, it was really about understanding the characters, understanding the moods, and obviously how they're sewn together in the narrative of the play and how the music can work from the beginning through the middle and the end. And so our devices are really those devices that we separately have grown up in, whether it's spirituals, blues cries, work songs, field hollers, and how a solo bass can really amplify those themes.
Talk about collaborating with Anna Deavere Smith.
Well, it's my second time. We started working together 6 years ago on Let Me Down Easy. And what's interesting is that I'm going to go back to a further thing is she saw my production of Thurgood. And she called me right after she saw that production. And Thurgood, there's a direct line from the story of Thurgood Marshall and Brown versus Board of Education to what we're now talking about here now. Is what's happening in the education system, what's happening in the prison system, and the sad connection between them with the school to prison pipeline. And so there's a direct connection from when that, we didn't know that was going to happen when she called me to, do a play about the healthcare system. And so it's a great joy working with Anna because it's what I call theatrical journalism. We try to take things to another level. And in this one, I think I'm using her own words here, is that she wants to inspire a new civil rights movement. And make people very aware of what's happening in the education system and what's happening out there in the world. And the people that she embodies in this one are not as the famous people like she's done in the past. They're the people that are being affected by it, and they're the voices that need to be heard.
What's it like directing her? I mean, there's so many interviews and so many characters. How do you hone it all?
Well, it's when I first met with Anna and she told me about her process that she's been doing for 30 years. She goes out, she films people, and then she embodies them all. And she told me how the whole process works. And we've joked about this a lot. And when she was all done, I said, well, what's my job? and she said to me, no one's ever asked me that before.
Welcome back to New York and welcome back to Second Stage.
Thank you.
Tell me about the genesis of the play and how it all came about.
Yeah. Well, I just found out about how particularly Black, Brown, and Native American kids tend to get suspended and expelled from school, for stuff that would be considered mischief. I don't know if I can say that. I didn't say it to the other people I'm talking to, but maybe I could say it to you. I heard about this kid in Baltimore, where I grew up, who peed in a water cooler. So he was going to get arrested, and that's when I was on Nurse Jackie. And so, the next day I was in hair and makeup with Eve, remember, Emily Best, an English woman. I said, I can't believe this kid, got arrested for peeing in a water cooler. And she said, whatever happened to mischief? And I thought, wow, like middle-class kids and rich kids get mischief, but poor kids get pathologized, get sent to jail. And that was all I needed. And then I just built the project, and I did research in 4 different geographic areas: Northern California, an Indian reservation, Philly, Baltimore, my town, and then South Carolina. But then ultimately, given the mood in the country right now, I started working on this in 2011. Really how the play is at the moment is a call to step on board to what I think is going to be a new civil rights movement. That's going to be about not just criminal justice, but also about education, really about we're losing people. We're losing people. We're throwing people away. And we have to do something about that, because it's not just a security problem and an economic problem, it's a moral problem.
What were the biggest eye-opening observations for you when you went back to Baltimore to do research?
Well, I mean, Baltimore was, I can't even believe what happened, we ended up there by accident right after the riot. And it's just block after block after block of just like torn down buildings, boarded up houses, just no opportunity. And I think it's an extraordinary opportunity, really, for imaginative people, just like Detroit is, to do something different with that city, my city.
And collaborating again with Leonard Foglia, your director.
Yeah, well, it's just so great to be working with Leonard. First of all, incidentally, Leonard directed Thurgood on Broadway with Lawrence Fishburne. And, this plays really makes you think about those days and what Thurgood Marshall did and what we did with what he did. Did we make anything of it? And a lot of people say we're more segregated than we were 60 years ago. So there's a lot of wonderful things. Work with Leonard, his imagination, how meticulous he is. And he can get these great designers around him. So I really lucked out.
And Marcus Shelby.
Yeah, well, Marcus and I just got crazy about each other in San Francisco. I asked him to participate in a workshop I was doing out there. And, we both come from a tradition of call and response, blues shouts, field hollers, black music. And I think he really brings that sense of the blues and the beauty of that and, just brings some extra soul and spirit. And it doesn't hurt that he's such a good-looking man, up on stage with me.
So finally, what would you like audiences to take away after seeing this?
Yeah, well, I really believe audiences bring something. I don't believe in that takeaway. This isn't takeout food. It's not pizza, right? And I think that, everybody coming here has a sense of what's justice. You learn that from the time you're little, what's fair, what's not fair. Everybody has some relationship to education. So I think people come in here with a lot. They may not know how much they're bringing until they sit in the audience. And I just hope that their hearts open and it affects the way that they're going to vote on November the 8th, how they contribute money when and if they do that, and how they think about spending their time. Maybe they want to volunteer, maybe they understand that for the sake of the country, we have to step outside of our metaphoric picket fences and understand that we're all connected to each other. We can't live in the silos that we've been living in lately.